Hello, everybody. Good morning. Can you see me and hear me? And is there no echo? Good morning. Let's make sure I got this one question. Hold on. Good morning. Good morning. I saw a question. Where did it go? Where was it? All right, let's get started. What is my mom's health issue and will she be okay? What is my mom's health issue and will she be okay? I feel like it's something that there's going to have to be a lot of time, effort, energy put into whatever solution is going to come here. Five of Pentacles makes me feel like things may get a little bit worse before they end up getting better, but Ten of Pentacles is a solution being found. It feels like something not being in proper flow with that Six of Pentacles in some way. My granddaughter wants to know if she will pass her reading test at the end of the year. Pass her reading test at the end of the year. Yes, but I feel like between now and then there's action needed on her part. There's part of this that needs a deeper understanding in order to kind of make her confident in it. So yes, but action taken on her part in the meantime would be very helpful. All right, let me scroll down here. Had a falling out with my sister. Now my family have turned on me. What is this? I don't get it. They're taking her side is what this is. Four of Wands or Four of Cups in the middle is like they feel like it's more effort to try and defend you than it is to take her side. And Ten of Wands is kind of making me feel like she got to them first and gave her side of the story, which is why it was easier for them to go with that version of events. And it also feels like, would it make sense that someone feels like they owe her being on her side for this because maybe they weren't on her side about something in the past? Would it be optimal for me to reach out to my ex-friend, ex-boss, Marsha, and try to make amends? We have not talked in 8 years. I feel like it'd be good to catch up, but it might not really go that far beyond that. So it depends on what you're expecting. If you're expecting things to kind of go in the direction of like building a new friendship from this, I don't feel like it's going there, but I feel like it would kind of be, it's nice to hear from you type conversation. I've been receiving dreams about my growth, confirmation about their meaning. What's the confirmation about their meaning? A final decision that you made. It's like your growth in this regard is pointing towards your discernment about making decisions that protect you, but also advance you. It's like you found the balance between stepping out of the comfort zone, but not in like a reckless way. Confirmation about their meaning, the right amount or level of patience on your end. Will March be a good month for me? Will March be a good month for me? Feels like a month of building. It's not really getting the rewards yet from the building, but figuring out where needs to be built or where building is possible or where expansion is possible. It's like you're realizing what tools you have to make the upcoming months better, and March is the realization of the tools. Mom was the matriarch before passing. Odd things are happening. Feels spiritual warfare. Any advice for her on how I can help my family? Spiritual warfare. Shining light on something that's beyond your control that you have the key to. So it's almost like the quote of only in the darkness can we really see the light. It feels like that. It feels like there's something that your attention needs to be brought towards, and that's the only reason that this is touching you at all. It's almost like from her perspective, she's like, I could block this, but there's something you need to see or realize from it. So look at the bigger picture perspective on what it could be trying to tell you. That will help it pass quicker. Upcoming blessings. Upcoming blessings. You're finally going to get some kind of results from efforts that you've been putting in that felt blocked before because there was some kind of self-limiting belief or projection from another person that was causing forward movement to not happen as fluidly. So wherever there is either a back and forth or a setback, there's going to be slow progress coming. Has my mom been around me yet? And what signs should I look for? I can't feel her. What signs should I look for? It feels like right now she's referencing in moments when there's been very heavy or very intense emotions. She's trying right now to help you draw your attention out of your mind. Almost like she's like, I'm here, but I feel like you need a moment to be able to really hear me, or like there's a need to process certain emotions that are on top of some kind of understanding that's difficult. With strength here, I feel like right now when you're thinking about your mom, you're thinking about like last moments or like some kind of shift in like things are going one way and then boom, they shift to another and there's like trauma in that memory, right? And it feels like right now she wants you to kind of not, like when you start to try and feel her, you're being drawn to the traumatic memory and she's like, you need a minute. You need a minute. Give yourself a minute. So it's not that she's not there, but it's that she doesn't want to draw you further into something that could cause this like trauma spiral of thought, right? So she's there and you can know that she's there because she's trying to not make it harder for you until you've had time to process certain things. If you could like kind of write down your thoughts and get yourself off of this hamster wheel of thought, it'll help you to make space to pick up on signs that she's then able to give you. There we go. Finally done with my major surgery, now feeling lost. A message from my guides on my next steps going forward. Oh, what did I do to this deck? Next steps going forward. Finally done with major surgery. Would there be some kind of like extra credit healing type of thing that you could get depending on the type of surgery? This could be like something to help increase range of motion, or it's almost like there's extra credit needed on your part. Like you're done with this, but something could be made better. So there's a need to not really rush ahead, almost like potentially preventative care for something that could be less because of the surgery. So less range of motion, less energy, something like that. There's something you can do now to counter that, if that makes sense. Like an extra credit type thing. Is R pregnant and is her day job trying to get her to quit? Is R pregnant? Is her day job trying to get her to quit? It kind of feels like with the day job thing, there's someone who's trying to be a stickler for the rules that may be causing some kind of issue here. So it's like, if you're not going to follow the rules to the T, then I'm going to give you issues because I'm trying to make myself be in alignment with my job role type thing. Is she pregnant? I feel like not yet. but there's action taken to try and be, is how I'm reading that. Critical message that I need to get from my family or spiritual committee. Critical message that you need. These all just came out. There's a higher perspective, but you need to follow your gut. It's almost like you're being told one thing, but you know the reality is another. So there's a need to kind of plan according to what you know to be true. It may be that you need to be persistent in being, how do I word this? Persistency in stubbornness. Persistency in stubbornness is needed right now. Will Allie get good news on Wednesday, March 5th? Will Allie get good news on Wednesday, March 5th? Not the news she wants, or not the news they want. It's almost like something's left to be seen. So like if I'm waiting for a final decision, maybe there's an added step, or maybe there's an added step needed before I get some kind of answer I'm waiting for. It feels like there's a path forward going to be shown, but not a final answer. Any messages from my mom? Any messages from my mom? There's a decision needed on how you're going to handle something. And it might not be what you want, but it's exactly what you need, because it gets rid of some kind of feeling of like everything or everyone being against you, or like a situation being against you. After you make some kind of decision and start to take action, you'll start to see like, I felt like I was up against a brick wall, but now I'm seeing that there's an opening there I can crawl through, type of thing. Message for this week. Message for this week. If you find yourself at odds with a situation that it's like you feel like you're between a rock and a hard place, but also that you're trying to figure out something that could kind of, I want to look backwards to see what the best option forward is. So you're using some kind of past experience to figure out how to get out of a rock and a hard place type of situation. Whatever this is, it's helping you overcome some kind of self-limiting belief, right? So taking action in the opposite direction of the fear seems to be important. Any messages for me? I'm a little lost. Is it turning around? Little lost. Is it turning around? Is it turning around? It's kind of like you're turning around and there's this blank canvas, and now it's like, well, what do you want to do with this? Do you want to turn back around to what felt safe or expected or comfortable, a comfort zone, or are you going to start from the ground up and rebuild something? Because look, now you know you have these tools and now you've turned around, so you have the space to build. Are you going to continue forward, or are you going to turn around and stay in a comfort zone? So your feeling of lostness is correct, because you're in a new perspective or a new scenery, right? But that's purposeful. Like, what do you want to build there? That's how you find which way you're going. Would addressing the void in my life with Michelle's blueprint help me, or can I do it myself? Would it help you, or could you do it yourself? I mean, I feel like it would help you, but you could also do it yourself, which is kind of like a non-answer. But it's really either you have the foundation and that helps build on it, or that's what's helping building the foundation that you can then build on, right? So it does feel like you'll get things that help to get the gears turning, but it's already been within you. So like, it will help push your mind in certain directions that you could have gotten to without this, but this will help to start the process of it. So I would say it doesn't hurt to do it, but you already have those answers inside as well, type thing. Are any of my friends true friends? What about BO or GH specifically? BO. BO, you kind of get this vibe of like, why don't you want to talk about this topic? Or is there something you don't want to tell me? Or is there something you've said behind my back that doesn't match how you are in my face, right? But it almost feels like this person's protecting their own self, not doing anything nefarious. So it's like, if it's me versus you, I have to choose me, but I try and get it so that it's never me versus you type of thing. So like true friend, I feel like this person's a true friend unless there's something where it's like me versus you. And then GH. I feel like GH is much more of a true friend than BO, especially when it comes to like, I guess I'd say integrity of friendship. What does the next 2 weeks hold for me? What do the next 2 weeks hold for me? It's like you're making a decision to face some kind of conflict or competition head on. So I'm not avoiding this. I'm not running from this. I know this might be difficult, but I'm going towards it because I'm making the decision to. It's not something I'm forced into. It's like, okay, I'm going to face this now. And I have the puppeteer on the bottom. So it's like an opportunity to take back your power in that way. How will March go for you? And a song. Why is my thing all the way down? Head Start by Lucidius. Head Start. Something that you've been kind of putting in the doesn't feel like you've taken action yet, but you've been thinking about doing something, creating something, changing something, building something. It's like you're going to start to see the how. So, but like in a big way. It's like this kind of feels like the energy of sick and tired of being sick and tired about this. And now I'm looking for opportunities to change it and I'm starting to see them. So it feels, I guess I'd say, eye-opening. I'm not feeling connected to my marriage. Would separation, divorce be better for me? Can't get these cards to go back in. Something's not blending. Something's not almost like I want to say it used to feel like you were waves that could kind of crash into one another. And then when you separated, like crash in together, there's this, and then we separate and we still know who we are. It feels like there's some disconnection in the separation of the waves. Like we come together and there's a crash and then confusion almost. It's like you're constantly waiting to see if something's going to blow up in your face. It's kind of giving like walking on eggshells, but like it doesn't feel like there's like fights or issues. It just feels like there's like disconnection. I feel like there could be an attempt to kind of bring this back together because 10 of Cups is here. So it's like what used to be this bright picture now feels like kind of dim and dark. I feel like there's things that need to be discussed. There's some kind of unhealthy coping mechanism here. And I feel like it pertains to sweeping things under the rug instead of discussing them. I feel like there's efforts that could be made here before that being an option, though. I feel uncomfortable with this situation. What's the best thing to do? I'm sad and angry at the same time with your sister and your family, right? So what do you need to do? What is the best thing to do? I feel like when you say you're sad and angry at the same time, it's the fact that your family's kind of picking her side, where this is saying, I feel like in order to fix that, you need to go to her. It's like, I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like, okay, we've chosen a side, but now we're staying out of it until it's fixed is how this feels. It feels like what this is saying is needing to try and see if the two of you can either work something out or at least get a discussion underway where it's like, okay, now I can bring this discussion to the family and say, look, I tried this type of thing. It just feels like what this is saying is going to her, which is kind of what you're worried about. It's almost like the hardest way is the only way to make progress right now when it comes to that. Is going to my brother for support and healing a bad idea? Would he have my best interest at heart? Is it a bad idea? Is it a bad idea? No. Would he have my best interest at heart? Would it make sense if I said that he would likely want to help you for more selfish reasons? Like, I'm helping you so that I feel good about myself right now? Interesting. I feel like he'd try to help you, yes, but it's almost like so I can say that I did this, or like so I can feel like I have a purpose again. So it's not necessarily like nefarious against you. It's more just like underlying currents of selfish reasons. But yes, I would try to help you, if that makes sense. Will the true and complete Epstein files be released hopefully today? Will the true and complete files? No. Someone pulling strings on the bigger names or the ones with okay, so like those who are in like the higher up club, someone's pulling the strings to take those ones out of the running. All the other fish in the sea, but look, I took this one out and it's separate. You can't see that one. Why? They have a higher up position and someone's pulling the strings to keep those names hidden. No. Full and complete? No. Allegedly. Trying to go back and forth more evenly between these. How does DeAndre feel about me since our last time being intimate? Kind of giving like I feel like you're out of my league, or I feel like I messed things up because I got scared of an imbalanced dynamic. Puppeteer and Temperance is like one person trying to direct the narrative with one person just being. So I do feel like this person tried to make themselves seem more confident or more in control than they actually are. And looking back at it, it's almost like they're like, I don't know if I could do that again, come across as that confident or that in control. So I guess I'd say there's some realization of different levels that you two may be on, if that makes sense. Message from my mom. Any message from your mom? It's interesting because under this one you said from my mom for my stepdad. So this would be you. This would be your stepdad. The moon, something being unseen. I know you think you got it all figured out. Trying my best, Anton Sebra. Is there something repeating for one or both you or your stepdad? It's like your mom's trying to show you something. She's trying to like nudge or push you in a certain direction. But it's almost like you need to be in some kind of situation where you are longing for information or answers because the answers will only be found in the darkness. Does that make sense? And it feels like this pertains to both of you, but it's something that you're working on. Will my heart problems resolve? Will my heart problems resolve? not like on their own. It feels like there's something that needs to change, like a major change or some kind of treatment. It's something you don't know about yet. I do feel like with the right treatment, decision, opinion, direction, yes, there is improvement available, but something needs to change before that happens. And it's not a change that's like in the works yet. Like going to get another opinion from a different professional that could look at it from a different angle than the other ones or something along those lines. Any coming signs to look for from the other side? Any signs to look for from the other side? A warning message coming through. Pencil, writing something, a warning message coming through. Something interesting. Something that's coming through as like a text message or an email, you're immediately going to get this feeling of like, I don't know about that. That doesn't seem true, or that doesn't seem like it holds weight or something like that. Listen to your intuition about that. It's not necessarily a sign, but it's like an inner knowing right away. You're going to read it and be like, that was written wrong, or something in that's not accurate, true, trustworthy, something along those lines. Message and a song from Grandfather Roy. My phone keeps turning itself all the way down. Hold on. Our House by Crosby. I'll light the fire. You place the flowers in the vase that you bought today. He's encouraging you to spend time alone with your thoughts. It feels like there's almost this planning or this strategy that wants to come to life, but there's also this avoidance of being alone with your own thoughts. It feels like there's something significant in a planning so that you can take action phase, but it needs to come from you just kind of unbusybodying your thoughts. There's something that you're avoiding that will help make a decision for going forward. And Our House makes me think it might have something to do with stability, security, a change, a move, something in routine. What will happen with Phil and I? Will we be friends or more? What's most likely to happen with you and Phil? Friends or more? Something slow to develop here. It's almost it almost feels like one of you wants things to be more than friends, more so than the other, and the other's kind of teeter-tottering on should I, shouldn't I, because of the other's desire. Will you be friends or more? I feel like things try and build into more than friends and they have trouble getting there. And it feels like one person starts to pull back and the other person ends up getting disappointed. So I feel like friends that tries to turn into more but has struggled getting it up off the ground. Message from my parents. Pieces by Matoma. Highlighting some kind of difficulty keeping things together right now. It almost feels like they're highlighting some kind of sleep anxiety, like trouble falling asleep, trouble staying asleep, feeling anxious about going to sleep, feeling like there's more you have to do or something you're missing out on or something that you just feel like I don't want to lay down and be alone with my thoughts about this. Facing something head on sooner rather than later. Being mindful about not reburying something that keeps coming up because it's going to keep coming up because it's coming up for a reason and it's coming up because you're strong enough to face it. Message, please, for love. Message for love. Something is not going to go the way that you hoped it would, but it's going the way you need it to go. You're being saved from some kind of complacency here. But it almost feels like you need to be shaken awake to move forward, because you may be overstaying somewhere that's holding you back, whether that's energetically, emotionally, in a relationship, in a job. You already know what this is. It's the area you kind of feel held back. It's almost like a final straw is going to happen, like the final nail in the coffin, where you're like, okay, I'm changing this now. My webinar went great and got more bookings. What did I receive for myself in regards to the next one? What did I receive for myself in regards to the next one? It's like you found something you can capitalize on. Now, how do you capitalize on it wider? So like, now I know what will draw people in. How do I get them all to bring another person, or to send something to another person after? How do I make one client 2? How do I make one watcher 3 watchers? It feels like you have it now. You just need to capitalize on it. It feels like you're not all the way clear on how to do that yet, but think, how do I multiply what I already have without doing more, but just getting that person to tell a person? What can I give this person to make them bring another person? What kind of incentive? Why am I being the scapegoat for someone else's inability to listen properly and twist the truth? Because she got there first. She went to them first and said, this is what happened, but framed it in a way. You know how, like, if you get in a fight with someone and then you go to another person and you're like, yeah, this happened, but I'm sure she's going to come and tell you this. And then you come and say that, but like the other person already said that you were going to say that because they knew how to frame it. It's that this person got there first. Your sister got there first. She rolled the dice on, okay, if I tell this story in this way, then no matter how you come forward, it just makes me look more true because I already prepared them for you to say that type of thing. She got there first. That feels like that's what it is. And the way that she worded it ended up being in alignment with what happened next, which made what she said more believable. Any messages for me? Any messages for me? There's a need to not rush forward with something here. Things are changing, and that may be exciting in the way that makes you want to rush or move quickly, but there's a need to kind of buy time right now, because it's almost like there's something up ahead that needs to pass before you can cross the road type of thing. So trust the divine timing in something that you may want to rush in, but there's more of a need for patience. Oh, my mouse is stuck. There we go. Julia's dad, Rob, died February 2nd. Oh no, I'm sorry. Does he visit her mom, or I? What signs do we watch for? Does he want to say something? Does he have answers to any questions we've been asking him? So this makes me want to tell you all that I'm currently working on like a mediumship deck. I have the prototype on the way to me now, so I will soon be able to kind of show you more direct answers to these kind of questions. But let's see what we have here. Died February 2nd. Does he visit her? Him, public. It feels like there's signs externally that he's been leaving like breadcrumbs, but it also feels like I don't want to be too overwhelming, so I'm trying to be subtle about it. Queen of Wands, Page of Cups. Does he visit her mom, or I? Definitely the child would be the Page of Cups, and I want to say this is the mom of the Page of Cups. Specifically, it feels like they've been not that he hasn't been visiting you, but I feel like there's been signs or symbols that if they were to sit and think about it, they would be able to realize that he's been leaving them. A gift and a shift knob. I gift you songs in the car or during travel. When you're going places, a certain song will align with your thoughts, or maybe if you're alone in the car, you're feeling some feelings, this song will pop on and you'll kind of be like, oh, well, that's comforting. It feels like that is kind of how he's communicating right now, because when there's travel, people are more present. Like when I'm driving, I'm not able to escape my thoughts as much. So that's when he's able to pop in. Does he have answers to any of the questions we have been asking him? Yes, and he's trying to figure out how to get them to you in a way that you'll be able to receive them and understand them. Two of Wands is like the preparation stage before the action stage. So like, yes, the answers are coming. Trust that the answers are coming. All right, where did I go? Token, please. Well, that's interesting. We have an umbrella and a giraffe. So a giraffe, very long neck. So like giraffe would be much closer to the rain than a person would be, but there's an umbrella. It feels like there's a situation where it was like a very close call, but you were still protected. It's almost like you're wondering if something bad is going to happen, or there's going to be some kind of blockage or speed bump or failure or something, because you got close to something and you're like, oh, that feels really close. Am I in the clear yet? You're in the clear. Justice and Nine of Pentacles, rebalancing out things for you. You're in the clear. It's almost like you witnessed divine protection in real time is kind of how I want to word that. But you're in the clear. There's something you're worried about that's not going to happen. Headed to the vet to get a quality of life assessment on my senior dog, Trixie, and potentially helping her cross the rainbow bridge. Is she ready to go? What would Trixie tell us? Puppeteer. I would say yes. The puppeteer would be the one pulling the strings, in this case, the vet. Judgment would be the final decision, and that judgment's like blowing the trumpet towards King of Wands. King of Wands is pointing towards the trumpet, and King of Wands is action. So I feel like this is Trixie saying, hey, if that's what they say, if they say that like it's time for this, then yes, that's what I'm ready for. That's how I would read that. Here's to Moving On by Dashboard Confessional is the song as well. So I feel like if that's what they say, then yes, she's ready. Is there anything I need to know? Is there anything I need to know? Trust yourself to handle the situation that feels like a tidal wave. Either there's a trigger that's going to cause emotions to rise out of nowhere, or there's a situation that's already unfolding that's very emotionally charged. There's a need to trust yourself here. Trusting yourself helps you move forward from something that feels stormy more quickly. Message and a song. Real World by Matchbox 20. What's that line in that? Hold on. Straight up, what did you hope to learn about here? If I was someone else, would this all fall apart? Kind of what I was thinking. Interesting. There's a need here to make a judgment call based off of your intuition. It feels like you're going to see how someone is saying certain things or making certain decisions based off of almost like anchors or chains that they're tied to, and there's a need to free yourself from that. That's not your battle to fight, is how I want to word that. Someone else's chains that they're tied to because of the unwillingness to make changes is not your battle to fight. or your responsibility to like unchain. Message and a token from spiritual team. The timer. 3 of Wands. Interesting. So 3 of Wands is waiting for your ships to sail in, and this timer came out where like more sand is on the bottom than the top. So it's almost time here. It feels like it's almost time for you to go into hermit mode. Like the hermit's not here yet, but there's a need to plan, to pull back all your energy and kind of like rebuild from the ground up some kind of structure or routine. It's almost like needing to get ready to hit the ground running by being in a temporary hermit mode so that all of the available energy goes into preparation for hitting the ground running. Hopefully that makes sense. Chris visited me in a dream. What was his message and a song? Go into a different playlist. Don't know why. It Don't Hurt Like It Used To by Billy Currington. It Don't Hurt Like It Used To. What was his message? It don't hurt like it used to. You're no longer standing in your own way. Self-representation. You're no longer like either staying where you feel unwelcome, or you're having this like epiphany of like, I'm welcome where I want to be, if that makes sense. So it almost feels like there's this highlighting of no longer standing in your own way of taking up space, and that lesson kind of correlates to him in some way. Like I'm highlighting that I'm proud of you for this. Is generational trauma responsible for faulty genes, and will QHHT help? Is generational trauma responsible for faulty genes? King of Pentacles and the Empress. Certain actions taken, certain gambles taken that establish roots. So I do feel like yes. This shows like a roulette table there. It's like bet on red or black, and the other one is the one that happens. And every time that happens, I plant deeper roots. So in avoidance of people facing certain things, it buried them further for generations now. Will QHHT help? It's not going to be easy. There's still other efforts that need to come into like maybe mental, emotional reprogramming. But I do feel like that will help. Nine of Pentacles is independence. So it's like you're trying something that they did not try. And although it's an effort, it's still producing travel. Like you're still making forward progress. So yes, but it's not going to make it easy, if that makes sense. Like it's still going to be hard, but it'll help. It may bring up other things too. Like doing that may bring up deeper traumas that they weren't able to unpack. So just be mindful of that as well. Songs or cards describing Dee's feelings, thoughts regarding a possible future together. So I'm still in that playlist that I was just in, that I said this is a different playlist, and it's I Choose You by Sarah Bareilles. The Blessed Unrest. I feel like what this is saying right now is there's a need for you to pour into yourself. I choose you, the Hermit, 2 of Wands. I'm planning to pour into myself because I'm on this roller coaster that I want to get off of. I almost want to say this is your guide saying to you what needs to be focused on right now is you, like getting back into alignment with yourself, getting off of other people's roller coaster rides, and remembering what it's like to stand on solid ground that you're in control of. Like when you're on the roller coaster, it's someone else's roller coaster, but really if you got off of it, you would just be on your own solid ground. The roller coaster you're riding is because other people, right? I feel like what your guides are saying right now is for me to not answer this and tell you that there's a time period needed where your focus is solely on you, because what you want and desire will change as you shift focus in that way. Will my brother-in-law still be here with us for the fall trip we are planning, or should we take our trip sooner? Okay, so I want to say this, that not that he won't be here, but I do feel like there's a benefit in taking it sooner. I don't know if that just means things will be more difficult the longer you wait, or if there's some kind of schedule conflict that you don't know about yet that would arise around that time period. I feel like for his sake slash comfort slash availability, it would be better to take it sooner. But I'm not saying that because I don't think he'll be here. I'm saying that because I think there'll be some other kind of issue that it would be better sooner rather than later to take the trip. Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of my sister's passing. Any message or song? I Hope You Dance by Leanne Womack is the song. Would there be some kind of memory of your sister's when she was like maybe early college age? It's like calling you back to some memory from that time frame of something that you could do to celebrate her now. Like maybe something the two of you used to enjoy together, or something that she used to do. Maybe there's something she used to like around that time frame. It doesn't feel like a big thing. It just feels like something that would help you connect with her. Because it feels like when it comes to your sister's passing, either just the passing or something the passing brings up, there's an unhealed wound behind it. So whether that's like an inner child or inner teen wound, it's almost like connecting with her in the way that connects to that time frame of early college type years helps you to identify the wound that otherwise hides itself in something else. So it's almost like the gift you give to yourself is unpacking that. I hope you dance. I hope you allow yourself to stay in the moment and flow as it comes to the tornado. In the moment and flow. Feels like emotions will hit you quickly and then dissipate quickly. It's almost just like something you need to check off. Like, okay, yeah, I'm done with this energy type thing. Hopefully that makes sense. Why do I feel so run down and unable to feel in control and complete tasks? Why do I feel so run down? Feels like someone else is pulling the strings in your life. I don't know if that's like your job taking up a lot of your energy. I don't know if that's you kind of worrying about things that other people are dealing with, like someone's having a hard time and you're trying to, in your mind, help figure out a solution for them. It just feels like your energy is not your energy right now. All of your energy is being pulled in a billion different directions by things that I want to say like aren't really all the way your problem. So it's not that you have to kind of be selfish and be like, oh, I'm not dealing with anything but me, but like being mindful of how much of your mental energy is going towards things that are someone else's problem to come up with a solution for. It just feels like needing to call back in all of the energy for out of the box solutions. Feels like all of that energy is being spent elsewhere. Danny, I did this one at the beginning. I know you said you were leaving, so I'm just telling you. I think it was the first or second one that I did at the top at the beginning, because I know you said you weren't sure if you were going to be able to be in or not. Is my marriage able to be saved? Danny, I think I said something about being in something not in flow and it getting worse before it gets better, I believe. Is my marriage able to be saved? It'll be the hardest thing that you've ever done, because it feels like right now there's this underlying energy of like, okay, well, it's pretty much just done. It's just like a slow crawl to get there. Could you turn things around? Yes. But there's a need to kind of, I don't know, it's almost like resuscitating something that feels to be like flatlining, like needing to do it before it completely flatlines. Two of Pentacles, it's like you're constantly juggling, okay, there's value in this, but also I'm still waiting for everything to blow up in my face at any moment. Is it able to be saved? Yes, but it's something that needs to happen like right now, like not letting things continue as they are, changing them drastically and not looking back. Am I ready for psychic opening? You said eye opening. Have I been thinking that I have been thinking that I am ready again? Hey Brother by Avicii. Interesting. I would say yes. The Ace of Cups, Holy Grail, High Priestess would be that third eye. Six of Cups would be your childhood. You recently healed from something that made you be at odds with yourself, is how I want to say this. And it feels like because of that, like when we open the third eye in that way, we're able to fully and transparently see ourselves as well. It's like you're ready to see yourself in that way now, which is why you're ready for that. One second. Any words from Grandma Shirley and a song? Any words from Grandma Shirley and a song? Cats in the Cradle by Harry Chapin. Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon, Little Boy Blue and the Man in the Moon. Say, when you coming home, Dad? I don't know when. We'll be together then. Would it make sense for Shirley to say that she's trying to bring someone into your life that is the ample replacement for what wasn't working? It's almost like you had to realize that you deserve more, and now she's helping to bring in the more that you deserve because you didn't settle for less in a situation that would have just served to deplete you. So trust that the next person that comes into your life that feels like divinely sent, it feels like that person's being sent by her. Almost if she went to this person and she's like, okay, Jamie's ready, you can go be in her life now. That person's coming from her direct influence, is how it feels. It will be 8 months tomorrow that I lost my dad. I need a sign or a song that he's with me. My depression is bad right now. Hold on, not this playlist. Wrong one. 1 second. I Need a Favor by Jelly Roll. I Need a Favor by Jelly Roll. Still with you, offering you. Would it make sense to say that he was kind of like maybe seemed a little rough around the edges, but was your teddy bear? It's like you knew a version of him that no one else really knew, and like you don't even really know how to explain that because people wouldn't get it because it doesn't seem that way externally than the version of him that you saw. It's almost like he's saying that version is the version that's with you. Like trust that comfort that you get from that version that maybe only you saw of him. And there's a cross. Will I get another home soon? Is there a message from dad? He passed 8 years ago. Will you get a new home soon? There's your dad. Wheel of Fortune. Not as soon as you'd like, but there is something in the works. Almost feels like there's a need to kind of get your ducks in a row or start to like get things organized to where when you find something you can act quickly. I feel like there's some urgency to like, I last minute find this deal, but I have to act quickly. I feel like that's how the home thing is going to unfold when it happens, but not as quickly as you'd like. I don't feel that much movement in the next 10 months, but then I feel like things start to move forward in some way. Past 8 years ago yesterday. There's something that you've been noticing in crowds or through other people, and it feels like there's some kind of signs he's sending you specifically to get off of the roller coaster. Like there's something that's not your burden to carry, and he's trying to help highlight when you're engaging in thought about that so you can put the burden down. Is there a good opportunity for me to put in effort with these 3 new customers? Yes, but it's going to take some time. It doesn't feel like something that's immediate, but it feels like something that if you follow the lead thoroughly enough, you will be able to get some kind of good results from it. Random deck, please. What do I need to know? Oh. Let's see. What do you need to know? What do you need to know? Shadow operatives, unseen players pulling dangerous strings, and a blank wild card. What Have I Done by Dermont Kennedy? It feels like you're going to see the truth in what someone is trying to say. Like someone with unclear or hidden intentions tries to tell you of intentions, and you see clearly that that's not true. It's like someone trying to cover up almost by like word vomiting. When someone starts to word vomit to you, trust your instincts about whatever they're saying, not all the way being true. Why does my mom seem disinterested in my health? Why does she seem disinterested in my health? Would she feel as though there's something she could have done differently at some point that would have made things easier for you now? And like, I don't want to face that. Whether that's teaching you how to care for yourself in other ways, whether that's giving you information of what to look for in certain things, whether that's maybe knowing certain things were prevalent in like your family line and not conveying that to you. It's like there's some bit of like, okay, I've decided I'm not facing that trigger, so I'm detaching from it. I guess I'd say like a bit of guilt, like but it doesn't all the way feel misplaced. It kind of feels like there's something that she feels like she could have and should have done differently. I'm gonna close. Oh, not yet. In a little bit. So I'm gonna close super chats in a little bit. So there's a lot of them right now. Is Luke navigating through dropping out of college okay? I get concerned for his mental health. How is Luke navigating through dropping out of college? I feel like I made the decision that I have to make. I'm just hoping that I'll be able to build what I want to build without the college element of it, or without the previous college at least. I guess I would say what it feels that he's most struggling with is some kind of imposter syndrome. Like, now that I don't have this, who am I? And who am I is dependent on what I'm trying to build, but I haven't built it yet. So I'm still confused about who I am and if I can actually be who I want to become. So I guess I'd say the biggest struggle seems to be imposter syndrome and finding his way back to himself. 1 out of 10, like 10 being the worst, 1 being I don't care at all. 6, 5 to 6, like the amount of struggle. Message from my father. Is he mad about what happened in the hospital? How does he feel about what happened in the hospital? Someone with good intentions made the best decision that they knew how to make at the time with the information that they were given, even though it might not have been the ideal outcome. Like, I don't love what happened, but there was pure intentions, is kind of how I would word that. Message from your father. What would his message to you be? You're carrying the burden of love. You're carrying the burden of love. Grief is love with nowhere to go. There's a need to find a place to put your love so that you don't feel overwhelmed in the grief that is love with nowhere to go. There's nothing you could have done differently, is what I want to say. Like, there's a need to forgive yourself or to put down the burden of like coulda, shoulda, woulda. He wants you to put that down. Will I start a job at the beginning of March? Will I start a job at the beginning of March? Will I start a job beginning of March? I do see a new job coming, but I'm not confident the beginning of March. I would say there needs to be like a 1 to 3 month buffer period on that, or maybe 3 weeks. If you already have a job in the works and the quoted start date is the beginning of March, I would say add like a 1 to 3 week buffer. If you don't have anything yet, I would say it's between that time frame and a 3 month from then time frame. Any message from my father? Any message from my father? Let's see the lyrics of this. Gone by NF. Always saw my glass as half empty. It was never full. Guiding. Okay, so 5 of Cups would be defeat. Ace of Wands would be a new beginning. There's value in looking at a glass that you're right now looking at as half empty as half full. What if this glass, what if this frustration in my life, what if this obstacle wasn't a glass that's half empty, but is one that is still being filled up that I can fill more? There's value in looking at something from that perspective because it's helping you plant the roots that will then sprout. So take a situation where you're looking at the glass as half empty and just give yourself the opportunity of saying, what if this glass is actually filling up right now? What if it's becoming better in a situation where I feel like something was just taken? Like, because of not getting this, there's space that can be created for that type of thing. Why do I need to be the person? I know the truth. What do I say when it's already being twisted? What do you say when it's already being twisted? Why does she have such a hold over them? Because they already made their final decision. It gives me the energy, like, why do you have to be the person? My answer to that is, for certain people involved in this situation, it's easier for them to take the side that they're taking because they already wanted to believe something similar. It's protecting their perspective that they previously had, I guess is how I word that. What do I say when it's already being twisted? What do you say? It's like she already laid the groundwork to make anything that you say of logic disappear. What do you say? Is there proof that you could bring or evidence that you could bring? Like, look at this text message type thing. Like, look, I tried to do this cordially. She won't. It just feels like, short of them seeing proof of the contrary, they're going to be very avoidant of changing their current decision. And it just feels like it's an instance of like intelligent, pre-planned groundwork laying, so that no matter what you did, there was already something that was said that would make it so whatever you were saying is expected. So like, I say she's being manipulative, but she already said I was going to say that, and this is why, type of thing. It's like there's so much groundwork already laid. What is the choice I need to make in order to move forward spiritually? It's less about where you're heading and more about what you're not taking with you. What do you need to detach from, whether that's a person, a situation, a mindset, a perspective? You're already geared to move forward. It's just that there's some bungee cord holding you back. It's like there's a part of your mind defending a self-limiting belief, and as soon as you cut that bungee cord, you move forward. So it's not about where you're heading as much as it is about what needs to be left behind. Because when you detach from that, you naturally move forward. Tokens, you can think of it kind of just like a tarot deck, but as little tokens instead, like little symbols and stuff. What can I do to help with any chances of building a relationship with D? What can I do to help with any chances of building a relationship with D? I know that you asked this before I answered the last question, but I'm getting a very similar answer. King of Pentacles here is like rebuilding your confidence in, like, ripping out all the roots that are not planted in good soil and finding the best way to plant them to where you can grow. Eight of Swords is kind of giving me the don't pass go energy, and Knight of Pentacles is like diligence. So like right now, you're meant to be taking your confidence, your planning, your strategy from the Knight to the King, and it feels like focusing on D is going to block you from that progress. It's going to keep you at the Knight when you need to be the King as it pertains to trusting yourself. So I feel like right now, pouring into yourself is what I'm being guided to say to you, because that's going to help what you want shift. It's like if you focus on that, you're going to be avoiding facing something that needs to be faced, and hence prolonging the facing of it. So a situation will just unfold where you're going to have to face it anyway, if that makes sense. Like what it is that you're avoiding emotionally, or about rebuilding, or about seeds being planted or roots being planted in soil that they need to be ripped out of and put in better soil, facing that first. What is my purpose? I feel so lost. What is my purpose? I feel so lost. There's something in your voice that's the key. It's like you're meant to be either giving direction, instruction, testimony, sharing knowledge, sharing wisdom. It almost kind of gives me the energy of like, I did this and now I'm teaching you how to do it too. So I feel like that could apply to a lot of different ways, but it's almost like you did it the hard way so you can teach others the easier way. Are my guides helping me with a new direction? Any messages for me? What can we know about a new direction? You learned what you did not want so that now you can figure out how to build the option that will fulfill you. It almost feels like before you may have been focused on success without fulfillment or something along those lines. And now you're like, okay, how do I get both? How do I achieve the success, but also get the fulfillment from it? So it does feel like that's the direction. There's your guides with the Hierophant that you're heading. Two of Pentacles. You're figuring out how to transition from the holdover to the permanent state of building. So like right now you're in like the strategy and planning before the action, and it feels like what's happening right now, it's almost like certain things need to dissolve so that you can find a more clear path forward. So helping you with a new direction, yes, by getting things out of your way that were blocking the path. Will my next job be in the Potomac, Frederick, or Columbia areas of MD? When will I land it? Okay, so Potomac, Frederick, Columbia. Potomac. Potomac could be a quicker transition. You could get up and running there sooner, but I feel like in Frederick, you could make more connections. I feel like it's more likely you'll end up going to Frederick, though, even though I feel like Potomac may have a quicker option, if that makes sense. When will you land it? I feel like about 7 to 12 months seems to be when things start to shift in that direction. Not that the move happens, but that you get answers about what needs to happen to make that transition. What does the next month hold? What does the next month hold? It feels like in order to get things changing, you're being put into a situation where it feels like there's no other option other than to wait. So it feels like the next month feels to be some kind of waiting game that is attached to some kind of hopefulness. Like, okay, if I can just make it through this last period of waiting, things will open up for me. It feels like that. And it feels almost like you're going to need to distract your mind so that it doesn't become bored in the waiting period. That's what it is. That's what it is to unpack. That card really wants to come out. The Mob in reverse. The The Mob in reverse. Yeah, that's the burden you're carrying. 10 of Cups. This is like, it's not your fault. These are all your thoughts going against you and trying to convince you that there's something that you could have or should have done differently. And it's this heavy burden. And she's like, put it down. Put it down. The ants too. It's like these ants are constantly carrying more of this battle into your mind. But she's saying there's nothing that the gears turning. There's nothing that you need to feel that way about. I found a suitcase under my bed with a notebook from years ago during my manic cleaning. Will this help my move? Will this help my movie? And is there a song for me? Interesting. Beautiful Things by Benson Boone. Suitcase under my bed with a notebook from years ago. For a while there, it was rough, but lately I've been doing better than the last 4 cold Decembers I recall. Interesting. Will it help my movie? Yes, it's helping you get clarity about being back on your team. Almost like you can look at this as a remembrance of where you were then and how far you've come now that you didn't think you'd be able to traverse that distance of. It's almost like you needed a reminder so that you'd stop being so hard on yourself, and that realigns you with the confidence piece that's needed to maybe make a little bit more out of my comfort zone decisions when it comes to the movie. Like, I can confidently step outside of my comfort zone because I remember how far I've already come outside of my comfort zone. Message of my white light dream. Message of my white light dream. White light. There's a need to find value in the darkness it took to find the light, because the light is direction. This doesn't really give light at the end of the tunnel. This gives like, I'm in a tunnel. It's very dark. There's a little firefly and I'm following the firefly out to the exit. It's like needing to stay in the moment so you can see what your mind would naturally want to avoid as it pertains to needing to be in the darkness to be directed by the firefly. Because if it's not pitch black, you wouldn't be able to follow that firefly out. It would just get lost in like the kind of light, kind of dark. It's like you need it to be all the way in the darkness to find the light that would lead you out. Hold on. Okay, so I read this the first time as like family type of decisions. Is he mad about that? So I feel like pertaining to what I said last, if there was anything on like you or siblings or other family members' decisions, that's like you're making the best decision that you can based off of the information being provided by the medical professionals. About that, I feel like he was saying everyone had pure intentions and was making the best decision that they could based off of the information they were being given. But let's look at the hospital now too, because I wasn't looking at it that way before. What would he say about how the hospital treated him and how he passed? I want to stop dealing with this as soon as possible from the hospital side. I want to back away from this as soon as possible. How would he feel about the hospital's role? Okay, I could word this one of two ways. Either they were the ones with the potential to make things better, but didn't act quick or invasive enough, and or it's like a lack of urgency. Like like if somebody would have been moving faster on the hospitals, and either a different decision could have been made, or something could have been slowed down with quicker action. So I would say the hospital didn't accurately convey certain things to the family. I'm not mad at anyone. Everyone made the right decisions based off of the information they had, but there's some slowness on the hospital part. A message from my father regarding his wife has stolen my inheritance and forged his will. Ten of Swords. Weird. This is so it's a wedding scene. Father regarding his wife. 10 of Swords, stabbed in the back at the wedding. Was your father already sick or something when they got together? Like, could that have been the plan the whole time? 2 of Cups. The Heart of the Matter by India Arie. Thought of all the bad luck and all the struggles we went through. 5 of Swords. Could that have been her plan the whole time? Honestly, like, this kind of gives my brain the example of like someone who is already having health struggles. Someone comes in and love bombs them, and then next thing you know, they're inheriting all their stuff. This gives me that energy. Almost like he's saying that he couldn't see her intentions before, but now he can. 3 of Pentacles. 4 of Cups. Her intentions were to get what she wanted in a heartless way. I would say his message to you is be mindful that you're up against someone who that was their plan the entire time. It's more calculated than you may have initially realized. Mediumship deck. Oh yes, I'm so excited. It is it's quite different than other mediumship decks that are out there. I've been working on it for a while, but I ordered the prototype this morning, so should be here by the 12th, I think. Message for my mediumship webinars. Could you include something in the webinar that's like, okay, so for those that are doing mediumship, I feel like you're teaching people how to do it, or even if it's like you're just doing readings, could you add in something where it's like, if my watchers are in active meditation and they're noticing certain avoidances or certain triggers coming to the surface, could I give them some kind of like, this is what you do when that happens, right? So like, maybe even an example of like, so you could say, when I'm in meditation, sometimes my brain will go towards this wound and I'll have to talk myself out of it in this way. It's like giving them the tools to get back into focus when a wound is causing avoidance internally through meditation, if that makes sense. When will I get to see Allie? When will you get to see Allie? When will you get to see Allie? Is there someone that this person's connected to that would be making that be harder? Like someone saying to this person, you need to kind of stay away. Like, it feels like when that person loses influence is when this person will be more prone to seeing you. Will Alan Jackson be kicked off of Karen Reed's defense team? Let's see. It's going to be a battle either way. 8 of Swords. I feel like someone's going to continue trying to get that to happen, even after, like, let's say the issue arises, we talk about it, we say, okay, he's not going to get kicked off right now. It feels like someone keeps bringing it up. Someone keeps looping back around to it. I don't feel like immediately, but I do feel like 70-30 after that immediate, like, 70-30 after the immediate push dies down. There's like a second push, and it's a lot more close call type thing. All right, I'm gonna close super chats after this one as well. Messages for the next 7 days. Messages for the next 7 days. Don't rush into any decisions. There's a need to sit with it, sleep on it, unpack it, write it down, pros and cons list. There's something you're not seeing that will only be shifted into perspective in time. Girl-Shaped Crater by Games We Play. I feel like I'm being called to tell you what I just told you because there's a need to realize how even your very small decisions impact those around you. So that's why there's a need to kind of not drag your feet, but slow down in terms of decision making or in terms of acting on decision making. Is Ralph being deceptive? Always brings up separation, but doesn't follow through. Any insight? Contemplate questions about him because I feel like answer my own questions. Always brings up separation, but doesn't follow through. It feels like this person has an abandonment wound, and that's how they like that would be the type of threat that would get them fearful when they were younger. So it's like I immediately go to that, or I keep saying that because I feel like that's what will make you fight for me if you love me type of thing. And it feels like that's a very emotionally immature perspective, but it's stemming from a wound that was never healed. Is Ralph being deceptive? I would word this as Ralph's war that he's in with himself is spilling out onto you. And that's what you're seeing. So do I feel like that's a valid threat? No. But do I feel like I'm going to continue to say that because that's the way I know to get to you, because that's how I would be got to when I was younger, when this wound was being formed? Yeah, it's like that's the tactic of manipulation. So being deceptive, I feel like the deceptiveness is stemming from self-deception, like with himself. Nothing you can do. I don't know if I'd word it like that, but let's see. It does feel difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. It almost feels like something that they're like time needs to be brought to the situation. Like things need to cool down and then see what happens after. It feels like not that there's nothing you can do, but I feel like what you can do is pull back for a period of time, which is easier said than done, but it feels like change comes after you know, when there's a problem and it's like, oh, you're the problem, but then I remove myself and there's still a problem. So if I was the problem, why is there still a problem when I'm not there? That's what this feels like. It feels like they need to see it from that perspective to hear you out. Did Brian Higgins transport John O'Keefe in his Jeep the night he was killed? Three of Swords, pain, and also the cocktail. They were out at the bar. Five of Pentacles, locked out in the cold. He was found in the snow. Ace of Cups, the missing piece. Judgment. Decision. Why am I not getting anything clear about the Jeep, though? There's the same card. Knight of Wands. There's the movement. Could it have been that he was moved but not in that vehicle? Could there be another vehicle that would be potentially at play here? I'm not getting a confirmation of the Jeep, but I'm getting movement. Something about movement to where he was found, but not the Jeep. Follow on from the inheritance question. Did my beloved father genuinely leave everything to his wife and deny his grandson and you? Did he genuinely leave everything to his wife? Did he genuinely leave? No. No. Do I feel like he split it where he left her something as well? Yes. But do I feel like he cut you and your son out? No. Four of Swords, like, could she have changed something? Like if there was a situation where he was like literally on his deathbed, or like there was some expectancy to a time frame of his passing, it almost feels like there's some last minute, oh, I can do it now from her. No, I don't think he just cut everyone else out. No, not at all. We got a token. Hold on. Easy does it. One of my friends, when I start going off on like a tangent or starting to get really worried about something, they'll say, easy, easy. It's almost like that's what he's saying to you. Like, you're like, okay, well, what if it's just that he cut me out? And what if it's just that he doesn't care? And he's like, easy. That's not it. That's not it. No, I feel like she did some slick thing towards the end, is what I'd say. North of Richmond is the song playing. Hold on, I have to close super chats because I keep forgetting. Did it work? Oh yeah. Okay. 1 second. I'd rather die on my feet than survive on my knees. It's weird. It's like she gives this like you owe me vibe. The wife. What do I need to know now? What do I need to know now? Certain people are not being, it feels like there's this energy of like potential like feeling rejected or feeling left out or left behind or something like that. I feel like your guides are saying the people that are being taken out or lessened as importance in your life, certain people are being taken off of pedestals so that you can put your future on one. There's like something that you need to be more confident in your own abilities about, and people or their projections are causing you to not see it as clearly. So trust that anyone that's being removed from your life is so that the people who are going to support you more can fill those spots. Oh, another Jelly Roll song was your dad's favorite song. Interesting. Interesting. I Found You by Andy Grammer. He's like, aha, got you. You didn't think I'd show up. Here I am. Question in the chat. Just want you to tell you I've quit trying to guess what my future grandbaby is. Okay. I mean, little surprises are good sometimes, you know? 4 of Cups, Knight of Cups. It's almost like the reason that it's meant to be a surprise is because you're not good at surprises. Like almost like there's this energy of anxiety attached to the future. And this is meant to be like a little microcosm of you kind of being like, okay, you know what? I'll handle it as it comes instead of being fearful of certain things. And it's almost like this is like a joking way for your guides to get you to lessen said anxiety about the future, if that makes sense. Is it possible to land my job before you move back to MD in July? You got to do something different than you're doing right now. I don't know if that's taking a trip to go certain places in person, or it feels like with what you're doing now, no, but there's changes you could make that could get it to go in that direction, but it's going to take some work. And I feel like some travel, like I feel like you're going to have to go there to look at certain things. Message from A, please. Message from A. Message from A. There's a need for you to be mindful of protecting what you know to be true about yourself, regardless of what others are throwing at you. It's almost like you're in this situation where other people are all putting in their opinions about you, but there's this energy of protection. It's like you already know the truth. Ace of Wands is a new beginning. So like things, your truth will be revealed in due time, but there's a need to not go against yourself in the meantime by other people convincing you that your worth or your truth is dependent on how they're viewing it. So there's a need to not go against yourself as you're in the waiting period, is how I'd word that. What's the message or theme for March? Token or a song? What's the theme for March? Let It Go by James Bay is the song. Let It Go by James Bay. Making the decision that you've been waiting to make, to not fight battles that aren't yours to fight, and to put that energy into building something for yourself instead. Using tension as fuel. How do I word this? Using tension as fuel by going in the opposite direction of it instead of engaging with it. And it feels like that's a change from the previous months. Justice, 8 of Pentacles. I would say your theme for March is being mindful that where your attention goes is where progress will flow. So if your attention is towards conflict or towards other people's battles, you're going towards a brick wall, versus if you turn around and face the other direction, you can build using that same energy. Oh, look, an angel with a clock. So your husband saying it's time. And a house. Either it's time to make a decision on a house, or it's time to restructure routine or habits or something pertaining to home life. It's like your husband kind of pushing you in that direction. Hey, don't focus on that tension. Focus on this. I'm going to do a couple of these to try and get them down and then go back to the list. Oh, I am kind of almost caught up too. 11:47 is where I'm at. 20 minutes. Okay. Will I get a new position at work? I feel like this go around, no. So like if you're asking because they're trying to promote someone and they're like, who do we pick? I feel like it's likely they'll pick someone else this go around, but then there's the potential to get it in the future. So I feel like right now, no, but that doesn't mean it's a no forever. It does feel like something's going to eventually shift, but there's some defeat right now or frustration right now. Any messages for Susie? What does Susie need to know? The solutions that would work for other people aren't necessarily solutions that are going to work for you. And there's a need to trust yourself to make decisions that will work for you, even if someone else sees it differently. This is a decision and a choice. You get what you give. Don't listen to people who don't have to deal with the consequences of your choices and decisions, right? It kind of feels like there's a situation where you can make a bold move, or you can make a big move, or you could make a forward progress type move. And there may be people who are jealous or envious or like not able to do that. So they project onto you. But this is like putting up a wall for their projections so you can focus on your own solutions. Defending what you know to be true, defending your forward progress. If you are close to making some kind of decision that someone tries to talk you out of right towards the end of acting on said decision, there's a need to listen to yourself. You're already heading in the right direction when that happens. I know I'm supposed to figure stuff out myself, but I am fighting something. My mind is mine. I know I'm supposed to figure stuff out myself, but I am fighting something. I'm fighting something. Fighting something. My mind is mine. My mind is mine. Would there be some kind of either... Okay, so it's like there's a situation where there's 3 doors and you have the choice of which door you want to go through. And you have the option that if you go through this door and it's the wrong door, you can come back out, shut the door, and try a different one. But there's something that's making you forget that that's an option. Something that your mind is telling you because of someone else that's making you forget that if that's not the right door, you can come back out, shut it, and try a different door. That feels very symbolic from your guides, but that's what I'm getting. It's like looking at all of what your mind is telling you and pulling out things that aren't necessarily facts, but opinions from others that are disguised as facts. Did I experience channeling through my clairessence on my webinar? I feel myself speaking through the area of feeling, but I need confirmation. I need confirmation. Your confirmation is that this started in a scary way, or in like it started with a wound. It started with something that was going to grab your attention. It feels like almost like your brain is like scanning like barcodes of things, right? And it's like the first barcode your brain scanned, you had all these clear knowings about, and you're like, oh, this could be difficult, but you continued to pour into it anyway. And you said, what else can this show me? That would be your confirmation, is that you already saw the difficulty that could come from it, and you chose to trust yourself to use your discernment and continue on anyway. Do some from this line. Why did it move me here? Hold on. Oh, don't ever be humiliated. What is going on with this when you say embarrassed to ask, having dreams of lost loved ones floating in the air on forks? Well, this is interesting because that's a bunch of loved ones floating in the air there. Page of Swords. There's your fork. Look, there's a box with all the people. It's almost like your guides are like, don't be humiliated. Look, I'll show you in images what you're experiencing. Here's all the people in the air, literally people in the air, and you're carrying them in your mind. Here's your fork. That's also in a box. Is there some kind of Knight of Wands? Would there be some unfinished business with one of these people that you see on the forks? You know what? You know the quote, like, put a fork in it? Like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm putting a fork in it. That's the forks. Is there some unfinished business that you need to unpack with one of these individuals that you're seeing? Like, not that you need to, like, mediumship talk to them, but more of like, let me figure out how I feel about this unfinished business so that my brain's not just trying to avoid it, type of thing. So my brain can flow. Something blocking the flow in emotions that's being avoided, that needs to be put a fork in. You know what I mean? Like, the forks are very symbolic of needing to bring something to a final conclusion. Was my mom aware that we were there before she passed? Was she waiting to pass until after she saw my sister, dad, and I? Was your mom aware that you were there? A Lot More Free by Max McNown is the song. Would it make sense if I said to you that she was specifically waiting to make sure that your dad... Okay, how do I word this? If I'm her, I'm waiting to make sure to see your dad being aware of what you and your sister would need. How do I word this? Would there have been something your dad whispered or said to your mom that was like her, okay, he's got it. He knows what they need. He knows it's something that you and your sister were going to need that he gave the confirmation of. Whether it's a nod, whether it's something whispered in an ear, whether it's just like an inner knowing on her part, it's like, okay, he's got them. Okay, I'm good. 6 of Pentacles, something I was given and then I was ready to go. I would say yes, big time. 7 of Pentacles, I waited to make sure that I knew that he knew what you two needed. Yeah, big time. Big time. And I also feel like she was very at peace with being ready to transition. Like, not like, oh, I'm gonna rush to get out of here, but like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. I'm good. New member, thank you. Where's that deck at? Is it crazy that I'm grateful for all the pain? Hang on, I'm trying to get all these cards out. New member. You get tested the most when it's time for you to elevate. Don't break. As things come into alignment for you, you're going to see certain things that may feel uncomfortable, that need changing or adjusting, but it's freeing you from the chains of your past. All right, last super chat, and then I'm going to finish with the list. I think I did yours. Didn't I do yours? Message from your father. I don't have any undone super chats. All right, let's see. Message from your father. Flying Without Wings by Ruben Studdard. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't see your other super chats. I don't have any other ones up here. What does your father want to tell you? There's something about plans that are not yet completed because you're still waiting for things to reveal themselves, and the answers will come in time. So there's a need for patience right now because it's almost like he's helping to shift your perspective on what to do with certain things or certain decisions. There's something that it feels like you're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop in a negative way, but there's some solution that's coming in the nick of time. So almost like I'm constantly waiting for this to require all of my attention. So I'm pre-planning for this, but it ends up working itself out, if that makes sense. And there's a need to be mindful with exactly how much you're expecting of yourself right now and needing to give yourself the time to either unpack, rest, heal, refocus. It's like if you constantly busybody yourself away from certain thoughts, you'll be left out in the dark of the solutions that would come from sitting with the thoughts. All right, back to this list. I'm going to see what comes after this. You said you see only 2 doors. Is there a third door that you're not seeing? So that came out like that. So I put it like that, but it came out like that. So public in front, public behind the wall. The third door comes when you decide to put an ending to something. After an ending, and it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be that you completely create the ending. It just needs to be that you decide that you're not going to engage in the same thought pattern or the same situation or the same whatever it is. That it's like the door right now is hidden. It reveals itself or becomes public as a new beginning after you bring something to an ending or conclusion. So there is a third door, but it's invisible until a final decision is made. How is SR? How is SR? Okay, so if SR is past, then SR is looking at a life where there was a lot to miss. Like, I really miss all of this stuff that I had that was great in my life. If this person is still alive, which I do believe that they are, it feels like there's this energy of them feeling like a lot is not going as planned or a lot is falling apart, or it's like I keep putting out little fires and more fires come to things that are important and significant to me. So it feels like there's some difficulty there. Are you saying that the fear stopped it? The fear stopped it before, not the fear stopped it now. You chose to not let the fear stop it, where before it was when I start to have these certain inner knowings, I feel the fear and I refocus somewhere else, where now it's almost like you look at that as a challenge. Like, what difficult thing is this trying to teach me or show me? What is the wound? What is the wound? Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome and despair wound. You really have the desire to help or to heal or to give insight. Like you want to do this for the right reasons, And it felt like before there was this hopefulness of like, okay, can I really do this? Whereas now you're going with the flow and you're like, okay, this isn't just me making it up. This isn't just me going on a whim. This is like an educated way to get this information and reveal it. So I feel like, I guess I'd say the confidence in the fact that you are not an imposter in what you're divinely called to do. Like you're being called to it because you have the gift and you're ready to do that type of thing. Oh, okay. Thank you, Deborah. Yeah, that's why but it still should show up on here. Unless I accidentally just clicked it. I have 2 screens up now, so it should be flowing better. Did Anne get signs from her father in heaven this week? What was his message and a song? Angel, truth and clarity, an offer of love, and climbing a mountain. Nope, wrong playlist one. Invincible by MGK. Invincible. That's this. What was his message? You don't have to. Okay, so if I'm him to her, you don't need to believe me when I tell you how capable you are. I'll give you a situation that shows you for yourself. Feels like there's a situation where he's trying to get Anne to believe in her abilities or capabilities again. And maybe she wasn't listening at first. So he's like, I'll show you. I'll remind you. So an opportunity to be redirected back towards self-alignment. Horrible as surprises. Yep. It feels like that's the because it feels like that's tied to something else. That's tied to like this anxiety of not knowing what to expect. So while it feels like on the surface, oh, I just don't like surprises, like it kind of, your guides are like, well, why? What else is that tied to? So it's helping you unpack it in some way. Any messages for me today? Any messages for me today? I'm going to hop off in about 10 minutes. Any messages for me? 3 cups fell on the floor. 3 cups fell on the floor. It feels like you're coming into an understanding about why a situation ended previously with someone who just was not wanting what was best for you. It's like, this is a situation that already happened and completed, but you're going to be getting some new understanding about it. So maybe you find out something about a person from your past and you're like, oh, that's why I couldn't be around them. Or you get a new understanding about yourself and you're like, oh, okay, that's why I wasn't in alignment with that person, because I'm coming from this perspective and they're coming from that. It's like there's some kind of understanding that's going to help you put down a burden that you didn't need to carry. How would the Norwegian economy be in 2025? We are indirectly admitting how things could be made better, and we're publicly trying to show how we could make them better, but it feels like, I don't know, it kind of feels like the energy of like, we keep trying this and that doesn't work, so we try something else, and that doesn't work, so we try something else, and that doesn't work. It feels like that, but it feels like they're making efforts to correct something, but not that much progress yet in 2025. Like we're keep trying new things, or maybe there's like a bunch of new incentives of some sort popping up, but it's like none of this is working the way we want, but we're showing you that we're trying. Does that make sense? Any messages for this weekend? Any messages for this weekend? Be open to shifting the way that you're seeing something when you realize that a perspective you hold may be limited. It kind of feels like your mind is going to show you you could uphold a narrative that's limiting, or you can expand, and there's a need to go towards the expansion. Does my cat Shadow need to see a vet? Does my cat Shadow need to see a vet? Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I'm getting, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about what I'm getting. What I'm getting is right now you have something you're keeping an eye on, and this is saying if it gets worse, then yes. However, I feel like if it's not going to be too much of a financial burden and you can get the peace of mind of going, even if they don't find anything, it'll be helpful for you to have the peace of mind. So I would say go when you can, but it doesn't seem to be a rush. But if something gets worse, then it's more of a rush, or something that you're keeping an eye on. If something changes, then it's more of a rush than it is now. But if you can go now, I would go, if for nothing else, than to get the peace of mind. Will I go back to work next week, or will I need more time? Will you go back next week? You and work. I almost kind of feel like this is saying if you go back, once you're back, you're going to be like, oh crap, I probably should have took more time. But I feel like if you go back, you're not going to want to be like, okay, I need more time. So I feel like if you can wait, I would wait a little bit longer. Yeah, it's like something feels to be overwhelming if you do it right now. Where if you can wait a little longer, I would, if it's not going to be like an issue. Or if it's something where they're like, you have to be back at this date, and you go in and you're like, hey, I don't really feel all the way up to this yet. It may be something they'll work with you for more time about. But I feel like you're going to feel overwhelmed, or like maybe it's a little bit too fast or too soon. Did grand jury find reason to bring charges in Sebastian Rogers' case? Will there be a break in the case soon? Did they find reason? Was there like a decision court thing? Like this kind of feels like they need more time, or that they've asked for more information, or that they've asked for, it's like not a no, it's not no, we're done, but it's not a yes yet. It's like we need more. The moon. They're waiting for someone to give them something that they don't know about yet. It's like we don't have enough for this yet, but if we keep pushing, either we'll get enough from this, or we'll at least exhaust that option so we know we can't do it that way. We have to do it a different way. Will there be any big break in the case soon? No, it just feels like more frustration. Feels like more of a waiting game, at least for the next 3 weeks, I would say. 3 weeks to 3 months, it feels to be a continued waiting game. All right, everyone, I'm going to hop off for now. Getting hungry. I think I'm going to try and either get tonight or tomorrow a news in reverse. Trying my best. Still playing catch up from being away. All the readings from February are sent out. Besides, I think I still have 2 mod readings to do. And March readings will open on the 1st at 10 a.m. Okay, that's all. I need to go eat. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to my mods. I will talk to you soon. I think I'm going to be back on Monday or Tuesday for members readings. I don't have my schedule for next week yet all planned out, but that's all I got for now. Talk to you soon.